Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am barefaced today because we're going to be trying out some new makeup that I just picked up from the drugstore. A couple things caught my eye. I actually wasn't even there to buy makeup, but they had an eyeshadow palette that was $2. Could not pass up on that. I don't have high hopes for this thing, but we shall see. Drugstore eyeshadows in particular, I feel like have come a long way over the last couple of years, so I'm very curious to see if a $2 eyeshadow palette can perform well. I also have a new blush here that's a beautiful fall tone. We're gonna be trying out a sort of a new foundation and also a new lip gloss. A couple of other things as well. Should be a fun one. Before we get into the makeup, I want to give a special welcome to any of you that are new here. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you enjoyed today's video. Please be sure to subscribe to my channel before you leave and make sure that notification bell is turned on. And with that said, we do have a lot of makeup to put on, so let's get to it. Before I do that, I need to tie back my hair. I know this is gonna drive everyone crazy, including myself. Now let's kick it off with the e.l.f. Halo Glow Liquid Filter as a glowy primer today. I just talked about this in my favorites video. It is not a new product to me, as you're probably aware, but I am loving this stuff lately. I like to just start with it right here on top of my cheekbones, and then I'll take a little bit across the center of my forehead. I'll go down the top of my nose. You can put this everywhere. I just generally try to avoid getting too much, like in these areas, that if I layer up too much makeup, I have a lot of lines on my face that things can gather in. So I kind of just try to keep this one in the center. Now for foundation. So a couple of months ago, maybe it was last month, I tried out the e.l.f. Flawless Satin Foundation, and the two shades that I got, Vanilla and Light Ivory, were both a little bit too light for me. So while I was in my Walmart the other day, I picked up a new shade. I know this one's gonna be much too dark for me. This is the shade Cashew, but I'm hoping if I combine just a tiny bit of this with one of these two shades, we'll get a good shade match. I do like the formula of this. I've been using it quite a bit over the last couple of weeks, but I've always had to combine it with something else. So hopefully today I can get a better feel for this formula all by itself. So there's just one pump of the vanilla shade. Now let's try and get just a tiny bit of Cashew. So this pump is being a little bit more tricky. That actually looks like that's gonna be a perfect combination. That product that pumped out doesn't look quite as dark as it looks inside the bottle. I'm gonna try and mix these two equal parts. My summer tan is fading a little bit, so it is possible that the shade Vanilla would be okay alone for me now. Lost a little bit of my summer tan. I'm just gonna grab the rest of that on my sponge here. Just got a Wet n Wild sponge. And let's just start tapping this in. Really nice so far. Has good medium coverage. I really like this foundation. It smells nice. It's a very subtle scent, but it smells pleasant. Okay, now I'm just gonna take the back side of my sponge and just wipe it around my eyebrows where I get some gathering around my hairline. Now let's move into a concealer. Today let's take the Flower Beauty Serum Concealer. I have the darkest shade that I own, which is Ivory, and then light medium. These are both the wrong shade for me, but I like to mix them together. So I'm just gonna take two little dollops on the back of my hand, and then I'll kind of mix them as we go, kind of like Bob Ross would do, like a little paint tray on the back of my hand. So I'm gonna mix them equal parts initially, and then tap that under my eyes. I do feel like this darker one has a better undertone. It's not quite as pink or peachy, a little bit more olivey, but it's just too dark for me. So these two make a good combination. A little bit on the side of my nose, here where I've got some discoloration. This time I'm going a little bit more heavy on the darker color to apply on some of these spots on the perimeter of my face. Happy little trees. Then I'm gonna take the rest that's mostly the lighter shade, and then we're gonna use that as my eye primer. And then just blend all that in with my sponge. Okay, let's set that down with a little bit of powder. I was gonna do all drugstore, but we're gonna cheat a little bit. I'm gonna use my Tarte Glow Bar to show you guys these powders. It's just like a setting powder. They do have some glow in them, but they're not overly shiny. And then just across my forehead, between my brows, down here by my smile lines, and then I like to take a little bit more right over this stubborn spot right here, and some of the more stubborn hyperpigmentation marks where I put concealer, just to make sure that concealer lasts a little bit longer. Let's move on to a bronzer. Now I don't have a new bronzer, but I wanted to pull back out my Baby Got bronze from Essence. This one is in the shade Cinnamon Spice. I think this is such a fantastic very affordable cream bronzer. We're gonna take it with my Sydney Grace brush right here. In fact, I wanted to swatch this next to my Milk makeup. Just a minute. Let's just do a three-way swatch really quick. So here's the essence right there. I'm gonna swatch my Tahiti or Tan Lines from e.l.f. next to it. Okay, so this is a little bit lighter, looks like. Yeah, so Tan Lines is a little bit lighter. And then the Milk makeup here on the end. Oh boy, look at that. Okay, so very, very similar to the Milk makeup. That's pretty impressive dupe. Hopefully I didn't get too much on my brush. I probably did. One more thing about this bronzer that I don't know if I have mentioned, it smells like watermelon, like a watermelon lip balm. It's not super strong, but you can smell it. I don't know if it's watermelon. It's like an old school cucumber melon scent from the 90s. I don't know about you guys, that was such a popular scent. That and the sunflower perfume were like the most popular things, scented things when I was in high school. I didn't really pay attention to that kind of stuff, but I do remember the buzz with the sunflower perfume. Okay, here's another funny one. Do you guys remember the Gap perfumes they used to do? They had one that smelled like grass, and I think they had one called Heaven. I used to love those. I think at one point I did own one. I don't know which one I owned. I don't think it was grass. I always wanted to buy the grass one. I like pretended I liked it, but I don't know that I would really want to smell like grass. I loved those perfumes though. I remember anytime we were at a mall, I would go inside a Gap and just smell all the 4 different scents that they had. I'm gonna have to look that up and put it on the screen right here for any of you that were into that back in the 90s. Jumping over to this is the Revolution Duo Blush and Highlight. Talked about these before. I picked up a new shade. I did mention in the first video, sorry I have a hair, where I tried the sweet shade out that they had a fall tone blush I thought looked really beautiful. This is the one. This is called Kindness. Looks like kind of like a rosy, like a rusty rose color. I have a feeling this highlighter is gonna be much too dark for me, but let's open it up and try swatching it before I decide if I can use it. So there it is. It is quite golden in tone. Let's give it a try. Why not? I'm not going anywhere important today. Okay, that's not bad, actually. If you are any fairer than me, I would say right now I'm a like solid light skin tone. If you're more of a light medium or a medium, this probably would work really well for you. If you're fairer than me, like a fair to light or fair skin tone, this is probably gonna be too dark. But I really bought this thing for the blush shade. Not the best highlighter formula, but it is a good one for $2.98 for a blush and a highlighter. That's not bad. So now let's try out this shade of blush. I think this looks so pretty. Look at that, you guys. It's such a pretty color. There's a little swatch right there. I love this. Let's take this Sydney Grace brush right here. It's just a powder brush. I'm just gonna take a little bit on the very tip, kind of shake some of that off, and then I'm gonna tap it right on the apples of my cheeks. Ooh, that is pretty. Yes, this gets me excited for fall. I love tones like this in the fall. I'm wearing like a very fall toned plaid shirt. I was gonna say flannel. It's not a flannel. Ooh, this is such a pretty blush. I like this one even better than I like the pink one. Just such a good shade, particularly for the fall. I mean, it matches my shirt perfectly, which always makes me like anything when it matches my shirt. Very pretty. Like the formula of that as well. That is one of the good things about a powder blush. As much as I love the dew that a cream blush gives me, I love that when I use a powder, this spot that's so stubborn, it's so hard to cover, and I have yet to successfully fade it. So anytime I use a cream blush, it can tend to take some of that coverage away. This helps just a little bit. All right, let's move on to this very cheap eyeshadow palette. It's from the brand LA Colors. Now, I have tried an LA Colors palette out in the past, I wanna say like 5 years ago, and I had a terrible experience with it. Do not confuse LA Colors with LA Girl. LA Girl eyeshadows are really good. I don't know much about this brand. They had a bin of these palettes or different palettes from this brand sitting just on like a bottom shelf at my Walmart, and they said they were $1.98 a piece. Looking at my receipt, it looks like I was charged $2.48 for this, so that's a little misleading. That actually happens quite often with Walmart. Check your receipts. I don't know if that's by accident or not. I'm not gonna make any sort of accusations, but here is what it looks like. Very pretty for fall, nice and neutral if you like your warm neutrals. Let me insert a close-up of this for you guys right here, along with a couple of swatches. As I mentioned, the last palette I tried out from this brand was, I think I got it like a shot Shopko, which I don't think they have Shopkos maybe anywhere anymore. And it was terrible. They were terrible. They faded off my eyes so quickly, but I figured for $1.98 or $2.48, why not give it a try? I thought the color story looked really nice. Let me just dip in here really quickly to some of these formulas and see what we're working with. Okay, not bad. Sometimes the swatches, you never know. It's really like the wear of these that I'm more concerned about, but so far that looks really nice. That matte shade feels really nice. Let me swatch these two shimmers right here. It's just like a good classic bronze. Okay, not bad. And then this one has like the white particles in it. Ooh, interesting. Okay, that actually looks really pretty, guys. I'm kind of getting excited about this. Now let's try out this champagne in the corner. This shade is what will really determine whether or not I like this palette, assuming it performs well. It's gotta have a good champagne. It has a little bit of a peach tone to it. It's kind of a golden peach. It's not looking amazing, but I'm not gonna give up on it just yet. I wanna give the palette a try. It doesn't look terrible. So let's just jump right in and try this thing out. Let me zoom you guys in just a bit. Let's use my freshly washed Refer brush. Oh, I love a freshly washed brush. This is the number 16. We're gonna dip into this shade right here. I really had to build this shade up. It's not giving me much. I can't tell if it's because the shade or the pigment. This is my third layer. Now I'm starting to see it a little bit better. Hopefully some of the other ones are a little bit more pigmented. It's not terrible. You just need to really build it up in your brush. Let's jump over to this color right here, this red tone. It has some sparkle in it. I'm just gonna dip the tip of the brush into that and then I'm gonna tap it. I don't really like mattes that have shimmer in them, although I heard somewhere, I have no idea where I heard this, that having the shimmer in a matte formula like that can actually help the matte blend better. I have no idea if that's true or where I heard that. Maybe it was a dream that I had, I don't know. Okay, that's pretty. That's actually a really pretty color. I wouldn't say it's wildly pigmented, but they're not bad so far, assuming that they wear well, which we'll have to see by the end of the day, but so far so good. For $2 or just over $2, take the tiniest bit more on this brush and kind of pinch the brush and run this under the outer part of the lower lash line. Let's dip into the dark matte now, this one right here. For that, let's take a different brush. We're gonna take my Sigma E25 and dip just the tip of that into that dark brown. We're gonna start this one right at the lash line, tap, and then kind of pull it upwards. Okay, now back to that blending brush. I'm just wiping it off a little bit on clean towel. I'm just gonna blend it all together. Just around the edges. Let's add some shimmer. I really wanna take this one right here. This is the formula that most impressed me when I was first swatching these. It's a nice warm gold, but it doesn't look too brassy, which is good. Tap that all over the center. That's a pretty color. I'm just gonna take this brush and just blend out that edge. All right, now let's dip into the champagne here in the corner. Just taking the champagne and popping that on the inner corner. That's a little weak. It's not great, but I'm not super mad at it. The rest of the shades so far look really nice. Okay, that's a little better. The second layer does go on just a little bit better. Okay, we're gonna add some liner too. I'm gonna take some gel liner. This is my Work and Set liner from Natasha Denona. I do wanna throw on a set of half lashes today. Little baby wing. Just about halfway across. I like to start really, really thin right at the lashes on the center of my lid and then get slightly thicker as I go to the outer corner. Give my eyes a nice little lift there. All right, now I'm gonna throw on a couple coats of mascara. I have this right here. This is from Pacifica. This is their Activist Volume Mascara. They sent this to me along with another mascara or two to try out. I wonder if they heard me talking about their other mascara they sent to me that I really did not like. Hopefully this was a little bit better. The packaging is stunning. It's very, very, it feels like a glass bottle and it's like this purple ombre. It's very, very beautiful. I hope that I like this one. Okay guys, here are the finished eyes with mascara. I didn't put my lashes on yet. I wanted you guys to see how this mascara looks on its own. I do like it better than the last one that I tried out, the collagen one that they had sent me a while ago. Probably need a little bit more time with it. I don't know that I think it did anything like any wonders for my lashes, but it's a good mascara so far. We'll see how it wears. I did also finish my brows. I just did that off camera. I just threw in some of my Sydney Grace brow powder, just this shade right here. And then I used my Essence Brow Styling Soap Set. Now I want to throw on a pair of lashes really quickly. These are just the number, I think they're the number 3s. I'll link them for you guys down below. They're a 1/4 or 3/4 set of lashes. They're basically just like for the outer corner. I'm gonna throw these on real quick, then we'll be back and finish off with the lips. Okay, eyes are all finished. Very, very pretty so far. Let's move on to the lips. So I do have a new lip gloss to try out. This is from NYX. It's called their This Is Milky Gloss. I think these have been out for a little while. I got the shade Salted Caramel Shake. It looks to be a little bit peachy for my liking. I usually like my glosses to have more pink than peach in them. Some of the shades were out of stock, but it is almost fall and it will definitely go with this look today. So we will give this a little try. I did want to show you guys something kind of interesting. So the price on this thing, first off, was $8.47. Not the cheapest lip gloss out there. Definitely not as cheap as their butter glosses. And another interesting thing to note, so here's a size comparison of these two glosses of the packaging. This gloss has 0.13 fluid ounces in it, whereas the NYX Butter Gloss, which you would think is smaller, has 0.27. So actually more than double in this little tube right here. So don't be deceived by packaging. Check how much product is inside your products. That's one thing that is often deceiving about some of the packaging things like this. It's not always just about the sticker price. So let me just give this little swatch on the back of my hand. Okay, oh, interesting. Oh, that's pretty. It's a very soft, it is kind of a milky peach. I actually really like that. And it does smell like salted caramel, which of course is a good thing. Okay, let's throw on some lip liner first. Why don't we go with my Essence? I'm gonna take this one right here. This is the Essence 8-Hour Lip Liner. I think this one's like rosy nude. It's worn off of the lid right here. I'm gonna overline with this a bit. Okay, now that that's set down, let's try a little bit of the gloss. It is just a little bit thicker feeling than the NYX Butter Gloss. Very slightly though. They feel kind of similar to each other. I just think this one is a little bit more opaque than the NYX is. It doesn't taste like salted caramel, which I know is a weird take, but I do pay attention to the flavor of my lip glosses as well as the scent. Okay, I'm gonna pull my hair down and then we will have one final look and we'll talk about a couple of these products. And here we are, here's the finished makeup look. What do you guys think of this one? Let me know if you guys have tried any of this stuff out before. Let's just go over a couple of things. First off, this blush, you guys. This particular shade, again, this was the Kindness one. Totally worth more than the $2.98 that I paid for it, just for the blush alone. The highlighter was not as bad as I thought it would be. I thought it would be unusable for me. It doesn't look bad. I wouldn't say it's my favorite highlighter, but really just for the blush, I recommend picking this thing up at that price. If you're looking for a good fall blush tone shade, I absolutely love this shade of blush. The eyeshadows look really good. I'm curious how these are gonna hold up. That was the issue I had the last time I tried out an LA Colors brand eyeshadow. They just completely faded and wore off quickly. I will keep an eye on these throughout the day. I'll leave you guys an update down below on how everything looked by the end of the day, and particularly if the shadows wore off. Very happy with the foundation. I know this was not a complete new try for me, but I was happy to try this foundation all on its own, which I haven't done yet. And so far, these two shades together, Vanilla and Cashew, made the perfect shade match for me right now. And I'm happy to have 3 shades to get me through the variety of shade changes that my face makes throughout the year. I'll keep my eye on the mascara as well, see how this wears, how it removes by the end of the day. I like what it did for my lashes. I mean, I do have false corner lashes on right now, but I didn't dislike it. I thought it went on pretty nicely. It wasn't too clumpy, it layered up okay. It's a little drier of a formula than the last one that I tried, and I think that was my issue with the other, I'll have to link the name of it for you guys right here. It was like the collagen something mascara. That one was extremely wet and it just weighed my lashes down, just didn't make them look very full. This one I do like a little bit better, but we'll see how it wears. And then last, the lip gloss. I like the lip gloss. I actually like the milky color with a little bit of a darker lip liner underneath. I think it's really pretty. I wish it tasted like salted caramel. That's one thing I like about the Maybelline lip glosses. It does have like, it must have some like tiny dot of sweetener in it. And you wonder why Charlie eats chapstick. It's very comfortable. Now that it's sat on my lips for a good 3 or 4 minutes, it's kind of melting in a little bit. It doesn't feel quite as sticky as it did when I first put it on. It does feel like the butter gloss to me. Curious to pick up another shade. I only wish it had more product inside. That's kind of my big hang up with this one, is the $8.47 price point when these are only $5 and they have double the amount of product. I don't know if it's worth the salted caramel smell. Might feel differently if I could taste the salted caramel. But I think that's it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Let me know if you have thoughts on some of these products that I tried out. I always love when a cheap makeup product ends up working out really well for me. Thank you guys so much for watching today. Hope you're all doing well. Let me give you one final reminder. Please subscribe before you leave, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.